So those of you that have followed me on TikTok, you probably saw I picked up a 63 Dodge Dart. Now it is a 4-door, slant 6, 3-speed, but all the hubcaps are good. The body is actually really solid, of course, other than the floorboards, which we'll get into that in a minute. But the really cool thing is, let's see if we can get back here. It was bought new right here in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and it has stayed here its entire life. Now the tag and the windshield sticker both ran out in 1987. So this thing has been sitting for quite some time, and that's a face only a mother could love. But I got this thing out of a junkyard. The back door is actually not that bad. If I could get the doors open, I could pop that back out, because that's fairly recent, because the first time I saw that wasn't in it, so that's not going to be that hard to get out. But a friend of mine from church had a junkyard full of cars, and he passed away a year or two ago, and now his family is getting rid of everything in the junkyard, and they told me, come get whatever you want, and then the rest of it we're just going to sell for junk. So that was the first one I got out. Now, like I said, I cannot get the doors open. I did get this vent window open, and I reached in here and rolled the window down. Now this door is on the safety catch, and the button kind of works. I can't really tell. I don't think these doors are locked, but I have pulled and pulled and pulled, and I cannot get those to come up. So we got some Superzilla, sprayed all the buttons, key locks, and in there where the latch is. So hopefully I'll be able to get in there and get that open. Now it does have floor pan issues, obviously. What doesn't? But the car itself is actually, it's really straight other than that door, and it's pretty solid. Now it looks rusty, but it's solid. And I'm gonna try to do something with this one. I don't really know what it's gonna be. It does have a title, which is cool. Now that bumper was bent like that when I pulled it out of the woods. So open the hood. Now this was a mess. If you saw my TikTok video yesterday, this was a mess. Rats been chewing on everything. This was covered in sticks and leaves and little prickle balls, but still got the Mopar fuel filter on it, Holley carburetor, and when I pulled the heater hoses loose, they're rotten, and I just flushed it out just for giggles. It was slam full of bright green antifreeze, and if you grab the fan with both hands and turn it, the engine rotates over. One thing I haven't done is pulled the oil stick, so I might need to find that and pull the oil stick just to see. Here it is, what it looks like. Nice shiny black oil. That's what we like to see. So we're probably one day next week, we're probably gonna do a will it run video on this just to see. We have no idea why it was parked. It's not like it's wrecked, and it has a title. So there's either something wrong with the motor or the transmission, or who knows, he could have just bought it or traded it out work, because he was a mechanic. He could have traded it out, or something could have been wrong with it and the customer didn't want to fix it, so they gave him the title. Who knows? He might have bought it just for the sake of buying it. I have no idea. But it's pretty solid. I mean, for what it is and where it's been sitting in a literal, I'm gonna call it a swamp, since 1987, and it's showing 17,000 miles, and it was owned by a fireman at one time. I do know that. I do know that much. I haven't tried to open the glove box, or I can't, like I said, I can't get the doors open, and I don't have keys to it, so I can't get the trunk open. And but yeah, a little slant 6. I'm pretty sure that's the small one. I haven't run the block number yet just to see, but I am going to try to do a will it run video next week on it, maybe one day, just to see, because like it is solid. And another question I get is, well, if this car is so solid on the outside and it's been sitting in the woods since, I don't know, 87, then why are the floor pans rotten? Well, there's several different things that could be. The cowl could be leaking, the windshield could be leaking. Like I said, these vent windows were cracked. So it's been getting rained in. And floor mats and carpet, they hold water. And it keeps the floorboards wet. But the real problem is, when it sits on the ground gets wet and moisture comes up from the bottom. You know, the sun came out and dried up all the rain, you know, all that good stuff. The bottom of the car stays wet. That's where the water goes. The water goes up. It gets covered in mud and dirt. And then you got pack rats and stuff like that. The squirrels has been living in it. And the inside gets full of dirt and leaves, and that rots, and stuff rots under it. And the floorboards are always the first to go. Oh, I just realized this is a radio delete car. That's kind of neat. That's actually pretty neat. Let's see if I can get the glove box open. Oh, well, that was easy. There's no glove box. Well, okay. Well, there's nothing in there then. But, like I said, even though it is a 4-door, it was free. So we're going to try to spend a little bit of time on it. Not a whole lot of money, just a little bit of time. And see if we can get it to run. Because if it runs, well, then there could be still something wrong with the transmission. But I'm just curious. Pull the plugs out, check them, maybe put some new ones in it. Definitely going to have to put some points and a coil on it. And I like to crank them up and pour a little bit of weed eater gas in the carburetor. Now, and I don't need a whole lot, because it's obviously not going to run off the fuel tank, because it's empty and probably full of crud. But I like to use a little bit of weed eater gas, hold up a jug and let it feed it, gravity feed into the carburetor. And what that does is a little bit of oil that's in the weed eater fuel lubricates everything in there, and actually it runs a whole lot better when you do that. It doesn't work every time, but it helps. I mean, it really does. I mean, this carburetor, I took the air cleaner off yesterday. It's really clean down in there. None of the freeze plugs are popped out. It's not leaking oil anywhere. It's leaking antifreeze because I broke the lower radiator hose with a strap when I was trying to get it out of the woods. But, yeah, I'm really intrigued. That little thing right there looks new. Obviously, the brakes are probably not worth a crap for nothing. And it did come right out of gear. I'm sure the brakes are locked up, but it did come right out of gear. Does have manual steering, no power anything, no air conditioning, radio delete car that I just now discovered that. That's pretty neat. But we're going to dig into it and see what we can come up with. I mean, really, the car is pretty straight. It's got a little bit of rust right there, which, if that's all we got to deal with, then we're okay. But this car was white, or hell, it might have been blue at one time. Might have been blue and white. I don't really know, because that's definitely blue, and that's definitely white, and that's white, and the doors are white, and the hood's white. This thing could have been like a two-tone, I guess, maybe. I don't really know. Can't really ask the guy that I got it from, because he's not with us anymore. But that'll be probably my next episode. Probably a lot of TikTok coverage of it. Probably do, like I said, a long video here on YouTube. But man, this is just really neat. I gotta go back when it dries out, hopefully, and quits raining, and get the rest of the cars that I told her I would take. A couple of farm equipment, some old lawnmowers, stuff like that. Just some neat stuff to have. But it's got the 13-inch wheels on it. The hubcaps are in great shape. All four of those are on it, and they're in great shape. But the bottom's not so bad. It's just the floor pans in the front, which that doesn't bother me. That's common. If you found a car like this and it didn't need floor pans and been sitting there, as long as this one's been sitting there with the tree growing around the bumper, you probably need to go buy a lottery ticket. But it was owned, like I said, by a fireman, and the inspection did run out in 1987, as did the tag. So it's probably been parked at least since 1987, so that's a long time. But that Mustang down there had been parked since about 1990, and with an ignition tune-up and some weed eater fuel, it cranked right up and actually sat there and idled for about 10 minutes. So I'm hoping this one will do the same, because everybody says, you can't kill these, but it was in the junkyard parked for some reason. So stay tuned. I guess we'll find out why. We'll drag it back to the shop and see if we can get it cranked up and running. And it's definitely not going to drive, but if it would crank up and run, I'd probably let the clutch out and see if it would move and help me maybe unstick the brakes. That would be nice, especially while it's on the trailer. All right, well, follow along. Thanks for watching. 63 Dodge Dart. The Will It Run video is coming up one day next week.